Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So right now we are in the process of upgrading Matt's turbos on his 335, and today we wanted to film a video installing upgraded inlets and outlets. These inlets and outlets are the upgraded ones from VRSF, so if you want to check them out, I'll have them in the description below. But these are upgraded ones and they improve flow since they are a little bigger. I believe they're 2 inches, so they'll increase the flow and add horsepower. But to take full advantage of the horsepower from these inlets and outlets, you are going to need a custom tune. Like I said, we are upgrading the turbo, so we're just gonna walk you through the process of installing them. I'll give you guys a look at them right now, and then we'll show you guys how to install them. Taking out the old inlets and outlets are kind of a pain. I am gonna show you a tool that we kind of just MacGyvered together to remove the rear inlet because it was such a pain. But let's show you guys what we have to work with.
All right, so in the outlets kit, it's pretty basic and pretty simple. You just have the 2 tubes and then a silicone coupler and 2 hose clamps for it. And then it uses the stock V-band clamps. For the inlets, you have the 2 silicone actual inlets. Then you have 2 new filters. You have the relocation brackets for the coolant and power steering reservoirs. You have some hose clamps for the filters and coolant lines. Then you also have some fittings for coolant lines. You have the hoses for PCV and also for coolant. And then you have new vacuum lines too, because we're deleting the vacuum canisters.
One thing to note, the actual filters do not come oiled, so you will have to oil the filters up.
Last thing, the level sensor or temperature, I think it's a level sensor in the coolant tank, has to be extended, so they gave you some wire too.
All right, so it is very hectic because we were in the process of removing the turbos, but we have the expansion tank out, which used to sit right here, and the vacuum booster, which is pretty simple to take out. The expansion tank just has, I think, 2 plugs, one plug, and it has 2 hoses going to it with the typical BMW style clips. We removed the rear inlet that sat right here and went up this way. It's a very tight fit to pull it out. We ended up having to cut it. I'll show you guys that in a minute. But what I did to get the 2 T30s out was MacGyvered this tool, which is a 1/4 inch, and with a T30 and some electrical tape. It's the only thing I could fit in there. I'm sure there is a better tool. This is all we had. I don't know if you can see down there, but the outlets were removed, and then obviously the other inlet that was coming up here was removed. I'll give you a look under the car, but I do want to show you guys the inlets that we did cut. So here are the factory inlets, and we just took them out. These are the 2 T30s I was talking about that are in the back. They're very close to each other, hard to get at. We also had to remove this heater plug wire, and then that was really it. We cut them and pulled them out. And now we'll show you guys a look under the car. Actually, before we do that, let's show you what the new turbos look like. So taking a look, these are the new turbos on the ground. That's the old one, and then that's the old one. These turbos, the original turbos that were in the car, were actually already replaced. So these are slightly upgraded turbos that are good for around 600-ish horsepower. So they're definitely gonna be an improvement, and these definitely, of course, need to be ran with a custom tune, but I believe we're going to route the inlets first before installing them, just to make our lives easier. But it really depends on if you guys have the factory ones and aren't replacing them and just upgrading the inlets and outlets. It just depends. We're gonna do this to make our lives easier though.
So installing this rear inlet first. I think we're gonna leave the front inlet out and then install the turbos and then put in the front inlet. We'll really just see how it goes. Maybe we'll mock up the turbos. But this is about where it's gonna sit. I just don't think that we're gonna be able to get the turbos in, get these in once the turbos are in there. So we're gonna try to make a way for it to sit in here nicely. That's about where it's gonna sit, maybe a little bit further back. And it should just make our life easier so that we don't have to jimmy it around for a half hour after we install the turbos.
So we wanted to give you guys an update. The outlets are installed, as you can see, the rear turbo right there. It's going up, it's coming into this piping right here. There's a little silicone fitting, and then we have this outlet right here to the front turbo and to the intercooler right there. It really wasn't that difficult to put the outlets in. We thought they were gonna be a lot harder. Now we have to do the inlets. These probably are going to be a lot harder. So we'll update you and see how it goes. Out of a lot of frustration, we finally were able to get the inlets in. They are extremely difficult. The front inlet is a piece of cake. It's right here, you can see. The rear inlet is right here, and I'll show you from the top, is an absolute nightmare. I don't know if you can see it. It's actually sitting right here. It is an absolute nightmare. I really recommend having a lift to do this. It's very difficult to fit these in. We ended up using a lot of silicone lubricant, just spraying it on the pipe, and we were able to just push it down. We tried heating it up a little to see if it made it more pliable. It didn't, so just take that. But yeah, it's in. We'll show you from the top, and it was definitely a challenge. So I showed you guys the inlets from the bottom. Here they are from the top, and the only thing left is we have to put the 2 cone filters on, which are going on right now, and that's kind of how they look. So they sit right there. But as you guys probably already noticed, or if you're planning to do this, you do have to relocate your expansion tank, and that's what we're in the process of doing right now. It sits on this side, but there's an adapter kit that comes with the inlets and outlets kit that you're able to stick it on this side over here. Sorry, the engine hoist is kind of in the way, but it mounts right back here. And you do have to do some modification to the lines. We already did that. We cut the line going to the bottom of the expansion tank, so it's right down here. That line right there we just cut open, and now we're going to put on a barb fitting that is supplied in the VRS kit. I believe it's the right angled one that we're putting on. All right guys, so the inlets and outlets are installed, as well as the relocation bracket for the coolant. This was very difficult to do. As we were mentioning, the inlets did not want to go into place. It's very important that you get them mounted under this metal shield. We have the filters right here. We relocated the expansion tank. Since the expansion tank was sitting there with the VRS kit, you need to run a new line up through here, and it routes up to the bottom, and then it mounts via this metal bar right here. Now, one issue that we did have, and we're trying to work through it, is the power steering reservoir is supposed to mount right here where you can see. However, our lines need to be fixed for it. We're putting kinks in them, so we have to cut them. Our only issue right now is we do not have more connectors, so we just left it in place. We have to order some new clamps to be able to cut and move it, but it does sit right here next to the alternator. And honestly, the engine bay looks so much cleaner, and it's possible. It's definitely possible. It's definitely going to take some finagling. It's going to take some moving around. It's going to take some cussing and frustration, but it is possible. We actually also routed the coolant line. This is the return coolant line that you're extending. We routed it down here and zip tied it to the AC line. So it comes from somewhere right here. You can see it comes right here. That's where we cut it, added those clamps, ran it under with the AC line, and back up to the bottom return part. And then we have this part right here that's fitted here and runs up there. We bled the system, and so far no leaks. And yeah, this is the VRS inlet and outlet relocation kit. If you guys have any questions about this, drop in the comments below. Like always, you can let us know what we think of it. Right now, it's been a great kit. Obviously, time will tell, and so far Matt is liking the upgraded inlets and outlets that he did with the upgraded turbos that we installed a couple days ago. All right, everyone, that is all we have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please check out VRS F, linked down below. They sell some awesome upgraded and aftermarket products for BMWs. I have some of their stuff on my F10. Matt has a lot of their stuff on his E93 335. So if you guys are looking for inlets, outlets, downpipes, blow-off valves, anything like that, VRS has you covered. If you guys have any questions at all, like I said, drop them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back to them. Thank you guys so much. Consider liking this video and also subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.